I think we begin with what's in the application, in the sense that we look at the issues that the researchers themselves have identified as potentially problematic, or that they have identified for themselves as being challenging, and look for those indicators of where researchers themselves are seeking guidance and further dialogue with the ethics committee. I think when you look at applications, sometimes reading between the lines, there are sites within the applications where that is quite visible. And so I think for an ethics committee, picking up on those cues from researchers and finding ways of dialoguing with researchers in a way that is going to probe those issues further, not through a one-way interaction, but an ongoing dialogue with the researchers, so that researchers can come back and feel comfortable coming back with more questions. And I can't remember whether it was yourself who actually raised the issue of vulnerability, but creating an environment as part of the human research ethics review process that allows for those vulnerabilities to be put on the table by researchers, rather than a process that encourages us as researchers to be defensive from the outset.
I think one simple thing you can do is to get somebody on the committee who has a pragmatic bent and knowledge in this area. I mean, we've been very lucky for over a decade now to have a rep from anthropology on the committee. And that person has to be picked carefully. It can't just be a person who thinks everything should go through automatically on trust. It has to be somebody who's willing to be a bit evangelical to take the message back to the departments. But I think as long as there's a boundary, and as long as the committee is seen as an external body that sort of decides in a secret star chamber whether you get to do your research or not, I think there'll always be these sorts of interpretations. But when I can go back to the department and say, when the students are complaining, I can say, no, actually, that application was shit. If you want to talk about it, I can talk about the details. Bring it to me and I'll show you what's going on. So you can sort of, that us and them is the problem. I think if you can short circuit it by locating champions in departments and by bringing those people and co-opting them into the process, it can make the process a little bit more cumbersome because it means a bigger committee. But I think it's worth it because you get faster response, you get better buy-in, you get a more genuine engagement from the department. And you get somebody in the committee who can say, "Oh, I see why they're saying that. This person is misunderstanding the question. You know, let me go back to them. Tell them to call me, and we'll fix that question." So until you have people that can serve 1 foot in, 1 foot out, I don't think you're going to make much progress.
Ultimately, it may save work and time. Is to get more engagement between ethics committees and what's happening in the education space around research. And I think that then creates a constructive, productive environment in which people stop seeing ethics committees as just gatekeepers, which, and see them as integral to the whole research process.